I love MMOs as much as the next guy, but they seem to have been very much oversaturated in the last few years, and there needs to be some sort of change. When Foxholes came along, it was something quite different. A world war experience with thousands of players fighting in the same battle. Everybody just being a cog in this engine that was death. Yet the same developers have decided to branch into something else, a new era. And you guessed it, we're going medieval. Anvil Empires is a large-scale game of conquest played by thousands in a persistent world. This is something really special. At first, I was actually pretty sure this was going to be a new city builder, or even an RTS, something along the lines of a Manor Lords perhaps. But no, the trailer shows that every single person within this is real. All individuals working through their own lives. They are the cogs of this war machine, whether they are serfs, soldiers, train carriage drivers, or lords. All building their own empires, and that's a note to take. This is a full persistent world, and it shares so many of those elements with the previous game Foxhole. Sandbox gameplay, mass collaboration, yet there is plenty of other new additions to try and fit more within this medieval time period, such as a bigger emphasis on settlement building, and a conflict that will support an order of magnitude of more players, allowing up to 1,000 players to march alongside each other on the battlefield, a scale that we have never really seen in a multiplayer front other than something like a PlanetSide. This is something incredibly special, and the medieval genre has never had anything along these lines. The closest being a Mount and Blade with the multiplayer events, yet that was still in the low hundreds, and of course, completely down in the battle rather than just being a part of this fuller army. So where is this world set? Well, this is Kaligo, a land that once birthed an enlightened people who represented the pinnacle of civilization, now finds itself in a canvas for bloodshed and conquest. 3 desperate alliances vie for control of Kaligo's land and resources. The map is pretty goddamn huge, very much island based, and archipelagos indicate that we're gonna get some sort of naval travel or maybe even naval battles eventually. That would be an incredibly interesting twist on the titles that have come before. It is split into these 3 alliances that will constantly be pushing and pulling, trying to gain and defend territory from where the enemies attack from. It's an isolated continent that holds an array of deadly creatures and bountiful features. So it will not only be player versus player, but there will be other environmental dangers that players have to contest with. So how are they actually getting this all done? It sounds pretty much too good to be true. Well, if anyone's going to do it, it would be the guys over that did Foxhole. If you haven't checked that game out, I would definitely recommend it. And as someone that hasn't really played all too much of the game, but has almost been spectating it from the outside, look, that kind of thing is way too intimidating to really put all my time into. I am terrified of people that play Foxhole. The technology that they use is only being improved for Anvil Empires, supporting, as mentioned, 1,000 players. These battles are going to be incredibly dense, yet this brings up my first doubts. With a Foxhole and having projectile weaponry, guns, artillery, so on and so forth, you're able to do this top-down style of gameplay control a bit easier. But how is this going to work in a medieval setting with close quarters combat? Combat systems are going to be incredibly difficult to implement, and especially to make it good in this genre, a genre that is famed for its intricately designed and well-flowing combat systems. Are they going to be able to do a similar thing and keep it on the scale of a Mount and Blade or Chivalry? Of course, it will never be that in-depth for the type of game that's coming along, but how they do it is going to be my biggest question. The engine that's being used, though, has been developed from the ground up over the last few years. Completely proprietary, so these guys know exactly what they're doing. One of my favourite features, though, has got to be the indication of settlement building. As something that wasn't really a part of Foxhole, coming into a medieval world, it is incredibly paramount in order to get people into the gameplay and invested in this persistent world. Raising villages from nothing, chopping down trees in order to build your houses, town halls, huts, and of course armories in order to fund and suffice for the wars to come. Every single resource has to be collected by an individual player, using the technology that is researched for those clans. And that's going to be incredibly important. You see, these games are like none other. Most titles, even a Mount & Blade or a Mordhau that are around a similar time period, are majoritively invested on the individual. How well do you perform at the game? How good are you at fighting? How efficient are you at waging wars? Even the closest we've had to this so far, being Mount & Blade's Persistent Empires mod, a full open persistent world with every single player doing their bit, still has a massive emphasis on the individual being a success. But these games, Anvil Empires, will be emphasized on the whole clan. Everybody being a tiny part, like ants in a colony. And I think they managed to get that through very well within this trailer. And it's the trailer that really gets me. Not only is this pushing far and beyond anything that I have ever imagined mechanically, thousands of players working together, but it looks goddamn gorgeous. People farming, people moving barrels from one place to another and then marching in line on the way to battle. And you might be thinking, will anyone actually do this? Well, from experience in this community, yes. People love this kind of thing, whether it's medieval or any sort of part of history. People adore being part of these massive armies, forging and almost role-playing in a replicatory way, going and sieging other forts, building battering rams and ladders, and that is all within Anvil Empires. Now, I did mention that the map is going to mostly focus on these archipelago islands, and we have actually seen that the trailer has the thumbnail of ships within the background. Whether it is confirmed that they will be coming is still yet to see. However, I think it's pretty goddamn likely. So, when is this game coming? Are we actually going to get to play it anytime soon? They put a developer blog stating, Anvil Empires will be an incredibly complex game and will require a lot of experimentation. Like Foxhole, there is no existing blueprint for this type of game design. So, playtesting has to be done. The pre-alpha will launch in April, which will be used as the platform for further developing Anvil Empires within the coming months. The initial pre-alpha will be an early in-development demo where only a small subset of foundational features will be in place. But yes, it will be available. Pre-alpha will be 100% free and won't require any kind of buy-in to participate. So this is where it gets exciting. Wishlisting the game on Steam now and being able to play it within April is only the tip of the iceberg. Anvil Empires is hoping to completely blast open the gates into the medieval genre, a new type of title that we haven't seen before. But boy, will I be sticking around to check it out.